Scott Pendlebury with us this morning, Marty.
6'3", Scott Pendlebury.
Yeah, you've just learnt that.
I know, I just learnt that.
Sneaky 6'3".
You are a very sneaky 6'3", because I see you come in here and I think, I mean, I never thought you were Rove's height, don't get me wrong, you know what I'm saying? I knew you were tall, but I didn't think...
Rove tall?
No.
He's tiny.
5'8".
He's Marty's height.
He's a little bit shorter than me. But that was a great win yesterday. Well done. What a great game. At the start, I thought Carlton might pull away, and I was a bit like, oh, Pendles is coming in tomorrow. I'll have to dress this one up. But I don't have to now because you got over the line. Well done.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was one. I thought it was built up during the week as well. So I think everyone knew. I was getting messages from Carlton supporters and mates that were Collingwood supporters telling me they were coming, and even guys trying to get tickets. They were like, all that's left is level 4 row Z.
Yeah,
that's the nosebleed section. So
yeah,
we knew it was going to be a big game, and it sort of delivered. It was a bit too close for comfort though. In the end, they kicked 3 pretty quick ones late, and that last, I think Jack Silvani had a snap over his shoulder.
He could have won the game.
Yeah, he could have, and then he missed, and thankfully we held on, and I think we won by 4 points in the end. But it was nice to hear that siren go.
Yeah, I bet it was. Collingwood are very spoilt by having such a fantastic fan base who turn up, and the supporters turn up, and they travel interstate with you, and you're playing in front of big crowds all the time. But 80,000 still must give you a real rush of blood.
Yeah. As I said to a few of the guys yesterday, they said, you'd be used to this. I said, you never get used to this.
No.
80,000's 80,000. So, Essendon, Anzac Day, and, Carlton, Geelong's the other one for us. We seem to always draw that big crowd. Richmond. So it's always phenomenal. The support and how loud it was yesterday was unbelievable.
It must be stunning being down on the middle of the ground with that amount of people, just all screaming in a natural amphitheatre, a man-made amphitheatre.
I feel like the when there's lots of tackles and, the crowd start getting really involved, like ball and mark or free kick high, and it just sort of, there's a scramble and there's like a tackle, another tackle, like the crowd just goes off its trolley, and players feed off that energy. But something that I always try and do is just before the game starts, I don't know, a minute before, is just actually stand there and look around and just take it in, because I've played a few games. I'm on the tail end, and just make sure I embrace and enjoy what's out there.
Absolutely. Now's the time for you to savour it and really experience it, because as you would well know, through your career, you would have seen it be over for so many blokes just like that.
Yeah, well, we had Jordan Ruffhead retired throughout the week, and said the thing he hated most about football was walking out onto the ground, but the thing he'll miss most is walking out onto the ground. So you've always just got to embrace and enjoy. And yesterday I thought we played a really good brand of footy, and it was a cracking game, and we were on the right side of it when the siren went.
Because I spoke to a bloke who played in the Melbourne grand final, one of the players, and he said you couldn't hear a word. Is it that loud when you're out in the middle that you just you're just wasting your throat by shouting?
Yeah, I always feel like I've got a sore throat the day after every game, because I could be yelling at you from 2 meters away, and you're like, is he purposely not listening to me here? And they turn around and they give the old, like, I can't hear, and you're trying to lip read with each other. And that's why you see so many guys, it looks like everyone's trying to organise, but so many guys pointing and move forward, come back, and you got to use your hands.
I was watching you do a bit of that yesterday.
You can't hear. So you're relying on eye contact with certain guys, and, left, and you got to, I don't know why I'm using my hands because we're on radio. But,
but it's good.
That's what you have to do. You have to really dictate where people move, eye contact, and all those little things. And
I could see you moving blokes into space.
Yeah, well, because as I said, they can't hear. So I'm yelling out, go left. They don't even know that I'm there. So you're just trying to get eye contact and fill holes. And but it's phenomenal. I'll never take for granted playing for Collingwood in such big games.
Well, and the Freo at Sydney on
that's what I was going to bring up. So speaking of noise and not being able to hear things, that whistle that went and Chad Warner kicked the ball into the crowd. What did you make of that non-50?
I thought it was I don't know. It's a funny one because they said it was common sense, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But then you argue like how much common sense is in the rules at the moment.
Well, you can't just say something's common sense.
Yeah,
it's either breaking the rule or it's not.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure. I'm a big believer, and I feel like the umpires should get to have common sense and a feel for the game instead of rules being such black and white in our game. I've got to pay that because it's in the rule book.
Yeah.
We play with a misshaped ball with the most participants on the field. And
the
biggest field. Like give umpires common sense. But
do they have it though?
I feel like
that may be the issue in your theory.
Our rules are very stringent, and then you sort of run through the protected area, and you're like, oh, but it didn't really affect the play.
Yeah.
I'd love for the umpires to be given that license to have that feel for the game, and that. So I feel like they do an incredible job, and then see a decision like that, and that's going to be the talking point instead of. Once again, what a cracking game that was, 100 to 106. Awesome game of footy.
Yeah.
And the talking point becomes the free kick or non-free kick.
Did you find in the last 5 or so minutes in your game yesterday that the umpires put the whistle away, so to speak? Because that's how it felt, and there was a lot of sort of those 50-50s that didn't get called.
Yeah, we definitely, speaking about it after the game, we said you definitely noticed that, I don't know, put the whistle away, or they're not going to call the ticky-touch free kicks, and personally prefer that. Like, you don't want a game like that decided by...
No, you do not.
Little things, and everyone's going off their trolley again. And
I imagine an umpire doesn't want to be that guy either.
And to be honest, it feels like what finals is like.
Exactly.
Because in finals, you don't get away with some of the stuff you can, suck the umpires into, I suppose, in season. So, as I said, I thought our game was officiated really well yesterday. And, it sort of befits the result.
Marty, Scott Pendlebury with us this morning.
Yes, it's lovely to have Scott here. Thank you for coming in after a huge game yesterday and a great win for Collingwood and their supporters. Sydney-Richmond was a belter on Friday night. We briefly touched on that. Melbourne-Freo was an interesting one.
Yeah, it was actually a really good game. I'm glad they won, because I tipped them about 3 weeks ago as the number 2 seed, and they went on to lose to Gold Coast and us. So
it was on our show.
Commentator's curse, but
they're
back. Yeah, well, it's a funny one, but they'd been playing really good footy. They just hadn't played good footy in the wet. So everyone's like, oh, they got ahead of themselves. And I think Longy, their coach, said we got a bit ahead of ourselves. But, when I seen the conditions are dry, I was like, well, their form has been incredible other than in the wet. So I was like, this will be a really interesting game. And, I felt for large parts they actually dominated Melbourne. And then, I think they kicked 1-6 in the first quarter. And then that third quarter was incredible. They just got on a roll, and they run out winners by 38 points, but I think that will give them a lot of confidence.
Absolutely.
What they do stacks up. So, and they've got, I think, Nat Fyfe's back this week or in the coming couple of weeks. So, they've got a lot to look forward to.
To come back from like a 5-goal deficit too, away from home.
Yeah, especially when Melbourne put the foot down in the second quarter. It's almost like they got woken up in the second quarter, and then for Fremantle to reset at halftime, come back out, play the way they did, and then even in the last quarter too, they were just really making Melbourne pay. Melbourne couldn't get the ball out of their out of Fremantle's forward half, and they had some tricks. They looked really good. They looked really efficient, and and Longy coached us for a few years at Collingwood, and I sort of knew that he would set the ground up really well. And even they had access before the game, where I think it was just before the bounce, Longy was talking about what they were trying to do, probably a minute out from the game, and it was great insight. And he really wanted to take him on. And he said, a lot of sides fall into the trap of going really slow against Melbourne because you get worried about Stephen May and Lever. So he wanted to take him on, and they did that. And it was a cracking game and a great win.
Who have Melbourne got next week?
Not sure.
Because I'm thinking the coach will be lucky to survive.
Sydney.
Sydney, that's right. And
Sydney.
Both Buddy and May are out. They kind of cancel each other out.
Yeah, I wonder if does Sydney challenge? Can they challenge that today? Is that the last? I think they get to challenge it today.
Till Tuesday,
yeah. Okay, so interesting to see if they challenge. Or,
I think I heard they're not going to.
Yeah, okay.
But that's not confirmed.
From a Melbourne perspective, because you've been in some teams that have been on long runs like they have been with their wins, do you think there's such thing as a good loss? Does this come at a decent time for them?
I don't think there's a good loss. No player runs out and thinking, we'll lose this one today because we just need a reset. But I think it will probably just highlight some areas of their game where they need to, let's not take this for granted. We bring this every week. This
very hard to stay up.
This fell off a little bit. And I remember 2010 when we won, Mick said to us, you'll get a free pass the next season till about the halfway point, and then sides will start to really hone in on and figure out what you're doing a bit better. And I think we were 10-1 at the halfway mark. And I think we finished 20-2 for the season. Only lost to Geelong that year. So I think Melbourne have been playing a really good brand of footy. We'll reset them a little bit. I think they'll just go, let's not forget these things. There's icing on the cake, but let's not forget the cake first. So and they play Sydney this week, which it'll be another good game. Fremantle, Brisbane, I think that's second v third.
That'll be a cracker.
So that's over at Optus. So
who are you blokes playing? Hawthorn.
We're Hawthorn Sunday.
2:10. That feels like a proper football game, doesn't it? 2:10 on a Sunday.
Know. When you read 2:10, you're just, how good's this?
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, 2:10.
What's your morning look like on a 2:10 day? What time do you get up? What time do you start to sort of motor around and do stuff?
when the kids come in.
Yeah. So you're up.
7 o'clock. And then pretty normal for me, like everyone. Yesterday I had to go out to Bunnings before the game. So I went out to Bunnings. The kids went in the park, got a sausage.
Oh, wow.
You're doing a Bunnings run before
it's
cold in front of 80,000.
Well, I've got to feel the morning. It gets quite boring if I just sit at home. So usually it's a park and take the kids.
Do you
for a kick of the
meditate or
footy.
any of that sort of stuff?
I had a little bit of a sleep when I got to the ground yesterday in our quiet room. Just laid down for 20 minutes.
Really?
Had a kip.
And do you reckon you actually slept?
Yeah, because I was doing those, when you're sort of half asleep and you're doing those body twitches. Get a few of those. And thought, I better get up here, otherwise I'll sleep for 40 minutes. But as I said last week, I'm pretty relaxed before a game. So, I enjoy the build-up and embrace all that.
I mean, Bunnings in a 20-minute nap seems a bit more than relaxed.
That's
what
right.
it does. Sounds like my Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I've got to prepare my week too. There's other things than football. So,
What did you get at Bunnings?
What did we get? Oh, we got some tarps just to cover a bit of stuff now that winter's coming out.
The stuff.
Weather's coming. Yeah, so just prepping for winter.
Mate, well done. Lovely to see you. Have a great game on the weekend.
Thanks,
Catch
guys.
you
Have
next
a great
week. It's 10 to 9.
Right across Melbourne, this is Triple M's Marty Sheargold Show.